respected judges, honored guests, teachers, parents, and my dear friends. Today I would like to talk to you about the Bible verse, Psalms 34, verses 8, which I just read. A lot of Psalms is written by David. David wrote this chapter after the escape from Abimelech. He was a ruler of God. David wrote it to thank God for keeping him safe. So we all know who David was. He was a king of Israel. But who was he before he became king? He was a lowly shepherd. So David was a person who really got to experience God's power. God turned him from a lowly shepherd into one of the most famous and exalted kings of Israel. David knew that many people trust God, therefore he encourages us to taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalm 34 verses 8 says, "Taste the Lord." How do we taste God? It is literally impossible. When I go to a sweet shop and I see all the variety of sweets, it's really hard to pick one. When I finally do pick one, I ask myself, why did I pick it? First of all, it looks good to eat. Secondly, because I've heard other people say that this sweet has very good taste. Then I look at which company makes it. I know it's a company that I can trust. And finally, the price is right. It's very cheap, so when I taste it, I know I made a good choice. This is the same when we decide whether or not to let Jesus into our hearts. First of all, it looks like a good idea. Secondly, we've heard other people say that Jesus is a wonderful Savior, and we know it's a name we can trust. Finally, the price is right. In fact, it's free, because Jesus paid the price when he died on the cross for us. What do we do when we taste something we like? We feel like we have to share it to others. We have to share God's words to those who have not yet tasted Him. What else do we do when we taste something we like? We feel like we want more of it. Food affects our appetite. Once again, the same with God's words. Once we've tasted it, we feel like we want more. So if tasting is to experience, then seeing is knowing by that same experience. There's an old expression of doubt that goes, "I'll believe when I see it," a bit like what St. Thomas said. But with God, it's the other way around. You will never see until you believe. Psalm 34 verses 8 continues to say, "Yehova melevledme, hüdichalili, avene sharan prabhukina purushan, bhagyavan." Proverbs 3 verse 5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." How do we trust God? In the Bible, there are many examples of people who trusted God. And one of the most famous has to be Job. Job lost all his land, his servants, his family, his wealth, and finally his health. When Satan gave all these troubles to Job, Job still stayed faithful to God. So we find out to trust God is to stay faithful to Him, no matter what. I shall now conclude by explaining what it means to trust God. We seek Him, look to Him, cry to Him in our need, and we trust Him no matter how impossible the situation or how deep the valley of testing. And we trust Him no matter what. Therefore we experience His loving kindness, protection, provision, causing His praise to be continually on our lips. Jesus said, "Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall still remain." Thank you.
That was Constant 1.